Good morning, Commissioner Williams and fellow owners of our Fantasy Baseball League. My name is Rick Herzer, and I'm here to submit my application for the 2014 version of our league. I heard that it was a special video deal, so here goes. Question number 1. What is your draft philosophy for a snake draft where you have 3 keepers? Well, here's what I like to do. Since there's 3 keepers, the first 3 rounds are dedicated to those keepers. So I take the 4th through 11th round picks that I own. I trade them for 5 solid keepers. I keep the best 3 of those 5 keepers. Then, since I don't get to draft until the 12th round, I like to target an off-the-radar, up-and-coming stud starting pitcher that other people won't be thinking of, like I did with Lucas Harrell last season. Hey, Commish, don't tell anyone. I'm targeting Hector Noesi this year. Question 2. Pronounce the following names. Now these are fairly easy because I'm a baseball aficionado and I've been around the game a long time. First one is Emily Bonfire. The second one, Mark Graduation. Doug Mint Kilbasa. Jeff Shoulda Stayed in Football. Mark Who Really Cares. And Jared Salted Caramel Macchiato. Alright, that was an easy one, guys. Alright, number 3. Do you prefer AL or NL, and why? I obviously prefer the National League. If my Diamondbacks played in the American League, they wouldn't have a shot in hell at the playoffs. So I'm a big fan of the watered-down competition that the National League offers. And I just like the DH. It's kind of reserved for old, fat, slow guys who can't play anymore. When you take up a roster spot with DH-only guys, you take away roster spots for way more valuable guys like Henry Blanco, Cliff Pennington, and Andy Marte. That guy's a stud. Let's be real. Who'd you rather see at the plate? Edgar Martinez, David Ortiz, Billy Butler, or Trevor Cahill, Josh Beckett, even Brad Penny grabbing a stick? Alright, question number 4. What's your opinion of Steve Cishek as a closer? Now, in my humble opinion, he's the 6th best closer in baseball. I mean, numbers 3 through 5 are obviously J.J. Putz, Brad Ziegler, and Addison Reed, all who play for the Diamondbacks. Number 2, Edward Mujica. He came into his own last year and is easily the number 2 closer in all of baseball. And no one, I'm telling you, no one is touching Jose Valverde as the most valuable closer in the game. That guy's a stud. Shoot, he looks like he probably ate 2 closers for breakfast. Number 5. What's more important in the ESPN League for evaluating talent of a particular player? 3-year average, ESPN player rater, past 15 stats, or other? Come on, definitely other. Now, I got my info for Lucas Harrell last year by looking at his 2013 AHS BS PFF MLB. That stands for Adjusted High School Baseball Stats Projected for Fantasy Major League Baseball. Now, you can access those kind of stats on www.ahsbspffmlb.gov. But I gotta warn you, it is a government website that requires a lifetime subscription and a high-level security clearance. So I'm not really sure anyone else in our league would be able to get into it or find it. Number 6. Are you a homer for your team players, like Shane Rowley and the Mariners, or a cutthroat, like Dan Nicholson? Now, personally, I'd like to say I'm pretty well balanced. I'm right in the middle. I like to make sure I draft the most valuable guys from my own team, so there's a little bit of homerism. Like last year, I took Miguel Montero in the 8th round last year. What a catcher. But I'm not afraid to pass by the middling home team players like a Patrick Corbin for a stud like Lucas Harrell. You guys can see where that got me. Number 7. What is your strategy for drafting pitching? Draft strong starting pitching, a strong core of relievers, or sell out everything for hitting and stream pitchers? Well, I think you guys kind of saw where I lie here. But since I don't get to draft until like the 12th round, I like to start with an under-the-radar stud like I mentioned before. Then, I start drafting guys who no one else really wants, like Anibal Sanchez, A.J. Burnett, Jaime Garcia. When those guys start overperforming during the middle of the season, though, I trade them all so that I can stream a bunch of other crappy pitchers. Does that make sense? It's just really too boring having good, reliable starting pitchers to start week after week after week after week after week. I like some variety. Number 8. Scenario. Your favorite MLB team is playing their rivals. You happen to have one of the rival stars on your fantasy team. Your MLB team is up by 9 runs, but your fantasy team is in a tight race on Sunday. You could use a homer from your rival team's star to help your cause. Do you cheer against your own MLB team for your fantasy team? Or do you hope your fantasy team loses and your MLB team maintains a 9-run lead? Okay, guys, this is obviously super hypothetical because Arizona would never be up by only 9 runs on one of their rivals. But I can kind of relate to this question since I owned Brandon Crawford for a good portion of last season, and he's one of the Giants' biggest stars. If this scenario would have presented itself, well, I guess I would have rooted for the Diamondbacks to win, but that Brandon Crawford would hit like 3 grand slams. Does that count? There's a good chance that he does that this season. So just remember, I was the one who prognosticated that. Number 9. Is it okay to cheer for teams in your same division? Like Giants fans cheering for the Rockies, or M's fans cheering for the Rangers, or even an AL Central fan cheering for every team? What about other teams in Major League Baseball? Absolutely not. Let me be clear on this. You must only cheer for your own team. I mean, when it gets all muddled and you start cheering for other teams in baseball or your own division, that takes away fans from your team. And trust me on this one, guys. Some teams need all the true fans they can get. All right, the last question is 3 fantasy team names that will either invoke shock or awe, or shock and awe. Now, me personally, my name is Rick Herzer. My nickname is He's. So I like to incorporate that because it makes for a funny, clever, catchy fantasy name. My first one would be for He's a Jolly Good Fellow. My second one would be He's a Maniac. See what I did there? And then my last one would be my 2013 Fantasy Baseball magazine said Lucas Harrell was going to be good, so you guys can all suck it. All right, guys, there's my application. I really, really hope that I get into the league this year, and good luck to everybody.